There are families people quietly envy, not because they're rich, not because they're famous, but simply because they live in peace. My family was one of those. 4 of us: Dad, Mom, my sister Lily, and me, Emma. We lived in a small house at the end of a quiet street in the suburbs of Portland. No mansion, no luxury car, but enough. My dad was a civil engineer, steady, gentle. My mom taught school. And we, 2 daughters, grew up well-behaved, responsible, and steady in our own careers. Lily, 26, was unforgettable if you met her even once. Fair-skinned, graceful, always neatly dressed. But her real beauty was in how she listened. Soft, patient, as if she had endured storms already, though in truth, she had lived only in calm. I used to tease her, calling her Mom and Dad's princess, because all her life, she was the one most deeply cherished. Not spoiled blindly, but loved with a pride and gratitude my parents carried in every word. They would always say, "As long as you girls are good, we don't need anything else." And truly, we lived like that. Mornings with the sound of Mom flipping pages in the kitchen, Dad twisting the radio dial, Lily's quiet laugh in the mirror while tying her hair. Evenings with the 4 of us under warm yellow light, eating simple meals, talking about nothing important, yet everything that mattered. A life so steady, you'd think it would last forever. But perhaps because peace lasted so long, when the storm came, it struck like a blade. It began with little things. Lily came home earlier, ate less, complained of dizziness, nosebleeds once or twice. Mom worried, suggested a checkup. Lily smiled, waved it off. "I'm fine. Probably just work stress." None of us thought much of it. She had never been sick. She lived healthy, ate well, loved life, radiant as ever. How could someone like that carry illness? But then, one Sunday morning, while I was scrubbing the floor, Mom's scream ripped through the house. "Emma, hurry! Lily, she fainted." I ran upstairs. Mom was cradling her, limp, pale. Blood streaked from her nose onto her knees. I called an ambulance. My hands shook so hard I could barely press the numbers. My chest felt like it would split. Dad said only one sentence: "We're going to the hospital." His eyes fixed on the rearview mirror. His lips pressed tight. The silence in the car was suffocating. 2 hours later, the doctor came out, paper in hand, a look in his eyes no family ever wants to see. "She has leukemia. Stage 3. We'll need further biopsy to confirm the progression." I heard my mother collapse into the chair, clutching its arm as if it were the only thing holding her up. Dad said nothing. His eyes lowered, shadowed as though a storm cloud had buried the sun. When he finally spoke, his voice broke, unrecognizable. And me? I stood frozen. No tears, no words, no thoughts, just the dry, pounding echo of my own heartbeat, telling me this couldn't be real. Lily woke up that afternoon. The hospital room was white, dim. The IV dripped in steady clicks. She looked at us, at Mom, at Dad, at me. She didn't ask. She already knew. Somehow she always knew before we did. And then she smiled. A thin, fragile smile, like a scratch across glass. "See, when life stays quiet too long, something big is bound to happen." I broke down crying. Mom exhaled a heavy sigh of grief. Dad's deep voice tried to comfort her, but his eyes betrayed the truth. His heart was twisting in agony, powerless to save his princess. In that sterile hospital room, a family once peaceful as a dream began to unravel piece by piece. From that day on, I never saw my mother smile again. Every morning, she quietly boiled water, washed my sister's face, then sat copying down every prescription into a small notebook. Line after line of slanted, trembling letters. Each stroke seemed to fight against something far too heavy for one person to bear. My father began withdrawing money, first from the savings account, then the retirement fund, then the insurance policy. I watched him recalculate the numbers 3 times each night, the yellow lamplight reflecting off new wrinkles on his forehead. And I understood. For the first time in his life, my father was asking himself, do I have enough money to keep my daughter alive? Lily started chemotherapy. Her hair fell out in clumps, her skin dulled, her lips cracked dry. Every time she looked in the mirror, I knew she no longer recognized the woman staring back. Yet she stayed calm, just as always. No blame, no screaming. She only asked, how much time do I have? Dad looked away. Mom broke into tears. I held Lily's hand and whispered, however much, we'll live it to the fullest. The hospital devoured money like a bottomless pit. Each checkup, each infusion, each vial of medicine. Hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. 1 week, then 2. 1 month, then 3. With every payment, I saw my parents' chests tighten as if air itself was being stolen from them. We had never been poor, but we had never watched money vanish this fast. Before, the 4 of us each carried our share. Dad worked hard, Mom taught diligently, and we sisters lived quietly, never sick, never needing more than what we had. Ours was the kind of life others envied. Now, Mom had taken leave to care for Lily. Dad missed days at work, torn between the office and the hospital. Lily quietly called her boss, asking for indefinite leave, never saying when she'd return. No one said it aloud, but we all knew. Our once comfortable family was pouring out every last cent just to buy a few more days of Lily's breath. I remember one night, Mom folded Lily's clothes, neatly stacking scarves, socks, shirts, as if preparing her daughter for work the next morning. But that tomorrow would never come. Her voice was hoarse when she said, all my life, I saved, never spent. And now, no matter how much I spend, it's never enough. I bowed my head, unable to meet her eyes, because I understood. Not enough didn't mean money. It meant that no amount of money could promise to save my sister. One September afternoon, the doctor called my parents into his office. Lily lay beside me. The door was slightly ajar. A breeze slipped through the window. The white light blurred across the floor. I heard my mother sob, then silence. A chair scraped, papers tore, then nothing. A silence so sharp it sent chills down my spine. My parents stepped out. Neither said a word. I asked, what did he say? Dad stared at me for a long time before answering, his voice thick, heavy, almost breaking. Even with more money, we may not be able to keep her. After that meeting with the doctor, I began noticing my mother forgetting things. She'd leave a spoon in the fridge, put medicine in the wrong drawer, cook rice, then sit staring until the pot boiled dry. Some nights, I heard her mumbling in her sleep, voice hoarse. Are you still breathing? Are you still here, Lily? My father started smoking again, after nearly 10 years without. He smoked in secret on the balcony, the wind blowing ash into his eyes. I once caught him sitting hunched over, shoulders trembling slightly, like a child lost in the dark, calling for his mother, and me. I learned how to wake up in the middle of the night, no alarm, no reason. Just to walk into my sister's room and watch if the blanket still rose and fell with her breath. My sister grew weaker. Each day she slept longer, spoke less, smiled. Almost never. One time I tried to remind her of when we were little, how she cut her doll's hair and hid it in my lunchbox, just to tease me. I had been mad at her for a whole week. Retelling it, I laughed, waiting for her to laugh with me. But she only closed her eyes and whispered, soft as mist, "I don't remember." I turned away, biting my lip, because I remembered, so clearly. One late afternoon, as the fading sun bled through the window pane, she asked, "Are you afraid?" I hesitated. Afraid of what? Afraid that one day you'll sit at the dinner table and there will only be 3 of you. My throat closed. She turned toward me. Her eyes no longer held light, only water. Yet it was a warm, gentle water, as if she had already forgiven everything, even fate itself. Don't blame Mom and Dad if we have to stop. We've already done everything we could. I gripped her hand tight. Don't say that. Please don't. She didn't answer. She only lay still, letting me cry. The first time in my life I cried openly before her, without wiping it away. In our family, we never spoke of death, but it was everywhere, in the worried glances, in the hands held too tightly, in the hugs that lasted too long, in the silences around the dinner table, growing heavier by the day. Mom still folded Lily's clothes each night, even though she no longer wore them. Dad still asked about the price of medicine, though the doctor had already said, no need to buy more if she grows weaker. I still opened her work emails, reading old thank yous, old projects, as if words could hold her here. One evening, after I finished washing the dishes, Mom pulled a chair close and asked softly, "If one day your sister really goes, what will we have left, my child?" I didn't know how to answer, but maybe what remained was us. The ones who loved her with everything we had. Our time, our tears, our money, our youth, even our lives. And then my sister left us on a gray winter morning. It didn't rain, but the sky was heavy, silent, as if it too knew what had happened. I woke at 5 a.m. No alarm, just a strange weight inside me. I walked into her room and saw my mother, sitting at the edge of the bed, sobbing, calling my sister's name, clutching a hand that had already turned cold. My father leaned against the wall, his eyes bloodshot, tears streaming down, without a single sigh. And me. I froze, covering my face with trembling hands. I didn't need to ask. I knew. She was gone. I looked at her face one last time and broke apart. From now on, I would never see her again, never hear her voice. The truth cut so deep I couldn't bear to accept it. But she was free now. No more needles, no more bitter medicine, no more questions of when will it end. She was free, and we had to learn how to live again without her. After the funeral, the house fell into silence. No more sound of water running from the tap she'd leave open. No trace of her perfume lingering in the air. No more typing through the midnight hours. I found myself still knocking on her bedroom door every night, even knowing no one was inside. On my mother's face lived a grief I knew would never fade. My father quit smoking. Each of us tried to heal in our own way. A week later, Dad opened the cabinet and took out a stack of papers, hospital bills, drug receipts, itemized costs for chemotherapy and radiation, some pages yellowed from sweat. I looked at them, one by one. The numbers, so large they made me shiver. A lifetime of saving, almost all gone in just 6 months. Dad spoke, voice low, heavy. Now I see. Money can buy us time, but not the ending. It can buy the best hospital bed, the best medicine, but not life itself. I sat there, surrounded by bills, my heart sinking. Not because of the money lost, but because for the first time in my life, I understood. The most precious things aren't what we save, but what we never thought we could lose. Lily didn't leave much behind, just a small box. Inside it, a handwritten letter, her script faint, fragile. If you're reading this, it means I couldn't stay longer, but I leave with nothing, because everything beautiful I already lived with you, with Mom and Dad. Don't regret the money spent. Money is meant to be lived, not kept. And because of it, I got to live fully for a few more months. That's enough. Don't spend the rest of your lives in sorrow. Spend it living. For me. Make it count. I read the letter, my vision blurred. Mom wrapped her arms around me. Dad sat close. The three of us, what was left of us, held on to each other tightly, as if to remind ourselves we still have one another. We had lost almost everything, but in return, we had learned what we once ignored. Health is the only wealth that cannot be earned back, and money, though important, is never the savior. It is only a tool to live each moment fully. If you are living in peace, please remember to be grateful for it. And if you have money, please don't forget to use it to live, not just to keep. Because one day you will realize what you tried to hold on to was never the money, but the people. And sometimes people cannot be held by money.